started.
No.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Don't you? So you remember I haven't finished watching that video, but that was interesting to me, the divine machinery, and one
Tell
of
me
the
about
points.
it. I didn't watch it.
One of the points is that when you look at the artwork from this let's call it like a movement, or it's like cyberpunk or whatever.
Yeah.
What you notice is that it's dense, like wires are everywhere, like
Yeah.
it's motherboards everywhere, like it's almost like
I kind of did that.
there's a fear of empty space, and I think there's he brings up a term called horror vacui, which means the phobia of empty spaces. So you fill everything with details.
Cool.
So, no, I was going to say, like, for example, you saying, like, when people in India, like, oh, if you get married, things will organize themselves and so on. Do you think it's a fear of too much free time and then not knowing what we will do, or?
I think it's a combination of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I'm not pinning it down to one thing, but I'm just like alluding to that one kind of notion that I feel is the opposite of what you said before. I was just like pointing at the contrast of it, where it's like you don't have kids, you're maybe you're not even married, say for example, right? And you're like, oh, I'll take the responsibility of having a partner when I have money, right? And then the same thing, like if you're married also, it's just like, do I have the money to have a kid? Right? It's like, oh, I don't have the money to have a kid, and then you don't have a kid. Like that thinking, that form of thinking, that's one way of doing the thinking about it, right? And it's I'm not questioning the rationality there.
Yeah.
It's completely rational. But on the other side, there's this other, I was describing the other mental motion that people go through, where it's like, just get married and it will you'll sort it out. Or just have the kid, you'll sort it out. That kind of, and I think like there is the whole societal pressure, peer pressure thing that goes alongside that to make that happen. And then, so the example that I was giving you was like, a person coming up to me with that glint in their eyes saying, dude, just get married. Everything will work out for you after you get, and I'm like, bro, what, like, I'm sure like that person has had that experience, but like when I hear that, I'm just like, dude, that's not the headspace that I'm in. But when I try to empathize, I'm just like, wait, is this some kind of like programming?
Yeah, but do you really think they've experienced that, and that's why they're advising it? Because there is also a lot of like they're just saying that because it's just something that people do, right?
I also thought the same thing. See, I'm also playing devil's advocate. I'm trying to understand, but like when somebody says it with that kind of like fervor, like when they're that enthusiastic about it, I want to inquire like where it's coming from, right? Maybe they're passing along some peer pressure that they had to give into in some indirect way.
And I mean, all advices are coming from a personal space anyway. So
I think that when people have that like personal kind of when it's just like it pours out of them because it's coming from a personal experience rather than something that's being handed down. I'm just like, tell me more. Like I'm just curious, right? And I feel like there is that element of from my own experience, like with my project, for example, right? That stance that I took, that I'm just gonna make this happen no matter what. A lot of things had like arranged themselves around that feeling, which I didn't have before, right? Like I take the example of my publisher. I take the example of all the people that like helped me with my game. My sound engineer, my artist. I have so much trouble finding people who I can work with. I mean, I'm not the best. I've never been the best team player. So I'm like always second guessing myself about that. But I'm just like, look, I want to make this game, man. I just want to make this game. You see what I'm like? I want to make this game, Boris. That feeling, right? Around that feeling, like arrangements show up, right? So I think that's an example of like, just have the kid. You want to have a kid, right? Like that kind of thinking, where it's like, of course. And I've met people like that who are like, but I just want to. I have to have a kid. I want to have a kid. I'm like, dude, what is it? No, I have to be a dad, or I have to be a father, or I have to be a like. There's this innate, some biological. I don't know what it is. And I feel like when people do have that kind of a feeling, they figure it out. So I don't think it's like full idiocracy levels of like just keep having kids and it'll just work out.
Yeah, that's just like an extreme way of like. Just like when people say like, oh, right-wing people are Nazis, like that's
it's
that's
all hyperbole. It's all hyperbole,
right? No, but I'm just like, I think in this situation that I find myself in, like, because it puts me in a difficult situation, like place. So I think that's why like I've been thinking like, okay, I mean, doesn't it make sense like if you don't have money? Anyway, I don't want to get into.
No, this is. I think we're talking about this also
No,
because
but-
it
but that-
applies
but that
not
does-
just to kids,
Yeah,
but
but,
also.
but that does bring me like it gives me an idea about like the question of like as a species or as humans, where are we going? I don't mean like actual in like spatial or I mean like in our head, like where are like just like you said, like that person who is really happy with having maybe like he dreamed of this since he was like a teenager or maybe even before, and then finally like he wants to have a kid, and then right. I think like I would even say like that, right? Like if someone comes with me with their problems, I'll definitely speak from an artist or a creative point of view, where I'll say, if you really feel alone, like start creating, and then you'll find people, because because that's what I experienced, right? Like just so.
That's the thing. I think we're
So I think, but we are both trying to go somewhere, right? Like I think we talked about this this is like a really long time ago, where we're all kind of going to kind of like a same place, whether it's like through religion, science, or whatever, like art. So what is that? Like, is it just us connecting, like trying to make sense of our primal?
Just trying to.
Yeah. Is there
go back
something?
home.
Yeah. Is there
Connect
something
with
that
God.
we are trying to understand about
Fellow
ourselves?
creators, the creator seeks. Right?
Okay.
You and I do it with art.
Yeah.
We create.
Yeah.
I think some people, all they create in life effectively is offspring. That's also a form of creation.
No, I mean of course they do other things. It's not just.
I know. But it is one of the biggest things, right? Like it's more life, literally, right?
Yes, and how do you feel about? Because I mean, again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but generally, what I've heard or what I've read is that is going down, right? The number of people actually having more humans, creating more humans, is actually going down. So what is replacing that, our need for
a new species, bro? That's it. That's the only way to explain it. Yeah, that's how I explain it. I think humans have had their run, dude. Like they've had their moment under the sun. It's time to move on. That's what I think. And I know that sounds dark, but like you have to understand.
No,
we are evolving.
It started from our
the
perspective.
Anthropocentric, perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I always think about it because like when people always say like, oh, we need to do what's best for the planet, but then and it all goes back like I mean I have these thoughts all the time. Like I always like, okay, you have like all these animals, and then we do different things to protect what we call the ecosystem, because everything has a purpose. Like we hate mosquitoes, but mosquitoes serve a purpose. Like and then like the house lizard or whatever. Like everything has a thing, right? But what is like it's almost like we like try to take care of this garden or this thing, this project we call ecosystem, and then we remove ourselves in a way sometimes from that.
Very convenient.
But we exactly. So but what is the like what are we like doing in that, like
right? That's the Agent Smith monologue, right? Like every mammal kind of comes into equilibrium with the ecosystem, but
except
that's a human beings are a
true.
disease.
Yeah.
The cancer.
Oh my god,
It makes complete sense from his perspective. Yeah.
But it's I don't know. So I guess suddenly it goes into like the I don't know. I'm thinking of purpose, but like that is like a huge. I mean, wars have been fought over like what you should do with your life, right? Like I mean, families break up because of like what you disagree on something.
Right.
Like the parents say like, oh, I expected this from you, and then they're like, no, I want to do something.
Exactly.
So. Yeah, like because I was thinking about because I was watching a video about Alan Moore. So Alan Moore, is one of the greatest writers of comics, and he's also a magician, right? Magician meaning like he believes in the link between the immaterial and the material. So, for example, language, words, ideas, right? All these things like. just like the inception, like an idea can like it's like can basically change your life, change you, right? So yeah, I've been thinking about like, so who we have these ideas, we come up with like, oh, suddenly like, oh, there's something, this is enjoyable, or I want to keep doing this. uh, it gives me like, yes, of course I need food, air, like all the basic things, but then this is giving me something that all these things are not giving me, right? And
Right.
then it's difficult to explain, so what do you like, have you thought about that, like what is your space in all
Dude.
this, or are you just saying that we are just, like you said, like in the transition to like a new species, like
Man, I like the video that you sent me yesterday. I couldn't see it because I was watching another video about like the neurological kind of the cognitive layer of how language happens to us, right? Like I'm like the science of that. I'm very interested in that
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? Like language is one of those things that I would take a deep dive into that at any moment.
yeah
The ideas just own us, man. Like like ideas, I think ideas like the corporeal and the incorporeal, right? The corporeal is this thing that's the material that's happening around us. The incorporeal is this thing that's happening on top, right? And that's just like that's a whole dimension, that's available to be explored, right? So you look at, like in that video they were talking about how there's like geometries, right? Shapes and structures inside the the platonic realm, right? And language is like this threading through it, right? And that's something that's evolving, and that's where like ideas are happening, and that's what kind of like controls this flesh mammal body that you and I are kind of driving on this plane, right? So once you kind of like zoom out from that level, you kind of like see you as this like mammal doing things out of the ideas that it's getting and all of that, and you look at history through that lens also. It's kind of like this interplay that's happening, right, with like the material environment and like this these host of ideas that are just like channeling through base reality. That's actually what's happening. This is just like a reflection of it. So I feel that we are just like evolution is happening at some level, I guess, right?
Yeah,
That's a fair assumption to make, right? And where does that land us in the future? We can we can come up with hypotheses for that, but yeah, I think
but like,
my
for example,
position is I'm a little bit anti-anthropocentric.
but
like,
do you
I'll put that out there.
Yeah, like we talked about this, like with the like when we met the girl when we were doing drink and draw, and she was like, for example, clearly separating like a creative activity from her, like not as a vocation, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think, I don't know, for you, and I think in a sense for me, I kind of make sense of the world through
Same.
what I'm doing, right? Like just like you said, you use those exact words. I think that I probably, I don't know if I told you or to someone else, but I used to say this, but I still say this, which is like, the moment I started doing things from like, like listening to that voice of like, oh, this will be great, this is what you like, or this is what you love, and so on. Like things started organizing itself around, right? Like and the same thing, like whether it's relationships or the place I live or the events I go to. I don't know. Everything was kind of like
There's a level of organization reorganization that takes place, right?
Yeah.
So almost like if there's something trying to come through and you're blocking it, you feel a reflection of that in base reality, in your felt sense and the people that are around you, and like the amount of money that you have and all of that. You let that thing come through. And get rid of the stuff that's in the way. It's almost like this thing just reorganizes itself, right? And you're just like this clutch plate in the middle trying to like make those two things sing together.
Exactly. That's why like when we talked about agency, when you talk about like simulation,
Yes. Now we're talking.
There is so that I don't know, that still brings me to the like do you feel like your purpose is to like where did you get the idea to make games? Like, is it do you know like where those ideas comes from?
My dad, dude. My dad got home one of those consoles. I never asked for any of this. Like he brought this little box and he hooked it up to the television. And that's the first memory that I have. Like I picked up that controller and I pressed the buttons and I saw them, change colors and shapes on the screen. I was hooked, bro. I was like, this is it. Right? and that was it. Like I never questioned.
Wait, this is like what, when you're like 5 or something?
Very young, very young.
Yeah.
And I started learning computer programming just a few years after. And I was just like, I want to make this. This is cool. So it's like how much agency do I have there? Like I think from there it was just an exercise in kind of like making sure that I'm giving it enough attention. It wasn't even a choice or a purpose. What is my purpose?
Yeah, but you also had like other things, right? Like, but then like for some reason you focused on that because imagine like you have a version of this. Imagine you're a chef, right? And then I ask you the same question, and then you are like, oh, one day my grandmother cooked this for me.
Yeah.
And I was like hooked,
right.
and I just wanted to know how this is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's a version of that, right?
Totally.
And I think like so. But we don't choose the thing that chooses the purpose for us.
Okay,
right?
so that's okay to answer that one, right?
Yeah.
Like how we described like the corporeal and the incorporeal, and you being this thing that's just trying to let an idea through.
Yeah.
Your ego is your agency. I retweeted this recently. The character you're driving here is just like your the arrow, right? Like where you're heading. Your idea of you exists behind that as this kind of like amorphous cloud that goes into the incorporeal, right? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But once you kind of explore that body, you kind of see how this thing. So, for example, for you, it must be art, like you're drawing comics and all of that.
Yeah.
You kind of like see that as part of you and your body. That's kind of like pushing that through the character you're playing here. That's Boris, right?
Yeah.
Like that guy kind of like drawing the art.
Yeah.
There's a thing behind you that you are actually, which is kind of like seeing that through, right? So like when you say that a lot of like, for me also like a lot of reality that I process, like my art is a part of that. Like the game that I make is I'm processing something. That's why the game comes out. Right. You are that process. At some level. And once you kind of like start seeing it that way, the character, the actual kind of like the neurosis of the individual that we are in material reality, kind of like it goes into a flow. So this is where the whole purpose thing kind of just dissolves. You don't care about that anymore because you're already in the sequence that takes care of this plane, right? Who am I? Where am I going? That kind of like those questions. Just there's no space for that anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but you have to.
No, but I think
see how it feels.
But are you so you're? It's almost like there are forces at play, but we can't help but like try to find meaning or like rationalize, right?
That happens as a post processing. I feel you can come up
Yeah.
with you have.
I guess that's why like sorry go ahead. No, I was going to say that's why I think it kind of feels unnatural when people talk about like write your goals down and stuff like that. That I think it's good. Like people will say like yes, that allows me to have a structure or like start somewhere. Yeah. But I think ultimately that's like limiting you from what you can actually do, right? Whether it's a business space or a spiritual space or like imagine someone who's in the who wants to be more in tune with consciousness or whatever, and then they say like I will meditate this time 10 minutes or something per day, which is great, but then like are you like are you fully playing that character or
that's where I think that's where it comes, like you have to keep writing. Like that one time goal setting is not enough. I think it's a great exercise actually, writing down, because like you're literally talking to yourself from outside of time when you do that.
Yeah.
And writing down one goal, say for example, and sticking to it will allow you to kind of like get to the next step. So that person who's exploring consciousness or whatever, and they're setting a goal of meditating 10 minutes a day, once they go through with that, maybe they'll come to a place where they can access a version of themselves that writes back to them saying, you know what, I'm actually going to try yoga and some mushrooms on the side as well, right? Like that wouldn't have happened if they didn't have the conversation of like, hey, let's at least try 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, you're exercising a muscle that allows you to come into rhythm, right, with the version of yourself that you're meeting from outside of time.
No, I'm still trying to understand that the imagery when you were talking about, because as you're speaking, I'm starting to see images of, like, for example, if it's me, it's me living my life on the ground level, let's say, like me at the drawing board and stuff like that, and then with each decision, which action, there is something. I'm voting for a version of myself.
Yeah.
And
not even action, just attention also. The things that you pay attention to. You're voting for versions of yourself.
But then, like, so, but do you ultimately feel that, like, but you're saying that the writing down the goals and so on, it's good. It's not like, but then how do you, sorry, if you become like too locked into like a structure,
it'll tell you. That's why it's a continuous process.
You'll get bored.
Something will
and
tell
some
you that
people stop when they get bored and they don't try to. Yeah, right?
I mean, I think that happens to a lot of people when, like, you know, you've put too much into being a certain character. You've put, and like that's the Jim Carrey quote,
even
right?
happens that even happens in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because I think this because you have all these things that poetry and movies and all these things that are things telling you that, oh, there's something really big about two human beings connecting.
Yeah.
But then you actually come to that point and then you just go about life and then you just take it for granted. I mean, I don't know, that happens, right? And then
I think at bottom all of these issues are a lack of creativity. That's what I think.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in a
and
job,
creativity is a muscle that, like, you just work at it all the time. Yeah.
And because the fellow creators, the creator seeks.
Right. And creativity not like as only in like just when you're creating art. It's just, I think you have to live a creative life.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Can we talk about that? Like what does that look like, a creative life for you? Like
I've been trying to explore
in the
that.
best, like the best version, like ideal version. What
I'm a game developer. I make video games, and I have made a couple of video games at whichever capacity I was able to. I got out of college, I made video games. Then I got I got a job. Enjoyed the thrill of a monthly salary. All of it, like, I explored all of these things, right? And I'm just like, okay, I'm only getting so much out of this. I tried to build a life around it, right? And I was just like, no, I'm not happy. Some part of me was just like, no, I'm not happy. So I asked myself, like, okay, this whole creative thing, the creative act, right? Rick Rubin, like, what you have to turn your life into a creative act, right? It's not just the art that you're creating. It's about the life that you're creating, out of which the art is coming. I'm just like, okay, I'll take this. You know what? Fine. I accept, right? Like, I accept the premises, right? I have to be creative with my life, right? I feel like a lot of, my thoughts, a lot of my ideas about the art that I want to create, over the last couple of years, that instinct kind of like, I started pointing it towards myself. It's like, what if the thing that you were creating was your idea of you? What if that was something you could be creative about? Right? Yeah. It's that meme, I don't know if you've seen, I'll put it up on the video if I can find it. It's that, a brain and eye looking forward, and then like the perspective shifts because the eye looks back at the brain. It's like, are you seeing what's going on over here? Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, can I do that? Like, can I just like direct my creative energy towards how I define myself, right? And that's been a pretty interesting exercise. And I'll tell you one thing, like, I don't know where I'm at with it or how people feel about it or whatever. How I feel about it is that I have this, the word I'm looking for is neuroplasticity. This place where I feel like even if I have a feeling that I'm not where I want to be, there's a part of me that can say, yeah, bro, we're working on it. That oh man, that muscle is so, it's so freeing. Yeah. Right? It's this ability to kind of like sink back into, I'm still playing this game.
I have that exact thought like every day. Yeah.
I think I didn't have that for the longest time. I would be in like two opposite ends of that spectrum where like I would, like abject depression on one end and like, a neurotic kind of, high on the other end. but like that middle ground, that middle place. It's like actually getting a joystick for the game that you're playing, and you're like, oh wait, I can control this thing. That's what it feels like, and a lot of things come to kind of like test that ability.
Yeah.
And I have been knocked down many times by it. I'm just like, dude, but I still have the joystick. I want to keep playing.
Did you like when you discovered like the joy of playing games and then gaming and did you start looking into the creators like behind the game? Like do you have that? Okay.
Always.
You see, like that's also that happens with filmmakers, comic book artists, right? Like
For sure.
that you start to look for the creator.
Yeah.
And I'm just realizing something that like, and I love listening to I even listen to sometimes like like video game creators or any creators that are they're just talking about how they created something, and I think it's kind of me looking for myself, right? Because I'm like
exactly.
I
100%.
wanna, so
that's why your attention goes there.
So are we doing the same thing with God?
24/7. This whole thing is that, by the way.
Yeah, because you experience these things, and you want to know who's creating this.
Yeah.
Like then you start looking
who
for
made this game.
Who made this game? Right.
Yeah.
So,
but you have to stay with the question.
Yeah.
And funny narrative resonance here. Like one of my biggest heroes, Warren Spector, who I eventually went and studied with in the University of Texas at Austin. He's the one like who used to talk about Scott McCloud. He used to explain like video games, right? Like how video games have to be understood as medium. And he took the example of comics and Scott McCloud. That's something we connected on, if you remember.
Yeah.
Back when we met.
Yeah.
It was just like comic books. Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah.
And so, I think like that's awesome. Like it's like I think even or like. Again, like it's I don't even know how to put it over, but like, when we say like, oh, when you're talking to someone else, you're actually talking to yourself.
Totally true.
So everything you do, that's why like because when people say when like Ramdas and so on, they talk about like we're all one.
Yeah.
There was there's a part of me that like couldn't understand that part, like why like how like
how exactly I need to understand this. Yeah. Yes.
But then if you really, like you said, like if you really look for like you're trying to understand yourself, I think you kind of look like you said, like that meme, like you look at the things that it's creating and then it kind of looks back at you.
Yeah, and that's what, like if you look at the simulation that you're inside and you put all the characters that are appearing in your simulation, there are the technical term I like to use is gestalts. There's like different configurations you can put people into, right? Like let's take the example just as a thought experiment.
Sure.
Like I can look at you right here, like in front of me, and I can like start the real basic stuff, right? Like, okay, male instead of female, right? Brown skin color, probably Indian or some like South Asian, right? Like Caucasian, whatever, like all those categories are there, right? Then there's like you turn that into like from a personal perspective, right? Artist. Right, there's a commonality, right? There's comic book artist, like we're getting more specific, right? Then we can go even deeper with that, where it's like, here's someone who has the same creative instincts as I do, right? So like that I'm talking to myself thing, just you can converge into that, right? And you can do this at all times. Is there some part of me that is trying to have a conversation with me? I mean, that's why like we're recording this podcast, because we have like common ground, we share like ideas and stuff like that. So there's that like indirect sensate experience.
Yeah, it's almost like we like if you talk about like all like people just living and walking in the world right now, or even like every living being, like you are. Again, I'm trying to visualize like they're kind of shooting lasers. Like lasers are kind of coming out of their bodies, and then like again, I'm using my hands like trying to show like how like in laser shows sometimes the lasers will like intersect and then like it creates like a. So it's basically like you find that point where it's basically you align. Right?
For me, it's more like observing this kind of like hierarchy almost. It's in a very technical kind of fashion. Like I can almost look at, like, I've lived in so many different countries, right? And I look in, like, when you try to connect the dots backwards, right? Like, I see through lines through all the characters, and I'm seeing, like, oh wait, there's this, like, there are these spirits or whatever that are following me around through the characters that manifest in my sim, and they're just like, the conversations that I'm having with them are the same, like the affect value of it, right? Like the valence state, like, I don't know how to describe that, but it's just like, if you reduce the matrix, right, I'm just actually having a conversation with parts of myself that I have estranged, and this whole simulation is a product of that.
Right? It goes back to, like, you know, for, like, the reason why, like you said, like people are manifestations of, like, you. But do you really feel like there are people that you won't absolutely connect at all? Like, but is that possible?
Like, that's, again, I think a reductionist view of that is the whole main character versus NPC thing in simulation theory. But that's, again, a very kind of like abject binary. I don't totally subscribe with it. Like, you have to look for your vibe twins, right? There's a whole spectrum there of, like, people who aren't necessarily going to, like, add to your character arc, but they still serve the purpose of, like, being there for some reason, which you can understand, right? Do you have to engage with them? Like, it's the degree to which you have to engage with them. Like, you and I have been in touch for so long, right? We are kind of like main characters in each other's simulation, because like we talk about stuff that's important to us, and you know, we create and like that kind of thing aligns, right? But there are other people also who show up who kind of like serve the purpose of, like, some kind of like background dressing, but you can actually see them serving that, like, you know, that the contours of, like, you know, your idea of you. They're showing up for that reason, like, they're still parts of you.
So yeah, like, I think that kind of bring, like, so that okay, now I'm able to visualize, because, again, you see, like, I need a visual way into even ideas, right? Like, so, like, going back to that laser analogy, where, like, if each one of us is just like this ball of lasers just shooting in every direction, like, I think, but then there's always, like, this through line, like, there's a connectivity between all of us, and then of course, like, you can't know everyone, because, you know, you actually need time and energy to actually spend people to know them and connect, right? So and you do connect, and
that's what I feel like. For me, having moved so many different countries, like, I see people who kind of, like, you know, get in one place, get one job, stay there, and, like, build, like, you know, build a structure for themselves, and they have friends, and, you know, like, they, you know, build a base, right? I've kind of, like, done this scan almost, I feel, in the last 10-20 years, where it's like, okay, I've been to all these, like, different places, met all these different people, so I have, like, this breadth first kind of, like, search of, like, you know, parts of me, right, out in the world. So I see that same pattern, that lasers connecting, over the course of, you know, my life. I look at that structure and I'm just like, wow, look at me, I'm like the strange loop. We are all energy masquerading as humans.
That's great. And it is, like, I think you people can't describe it, but, like, it is that something, like, when you're talking to someone, you feel something. It's not it's not just like seeing them or hearing their voice, or, like, kind of like smelling, like, what the perfume they're wearing. It's actually there's something really
I actually see that as those, like, parts of you that are talking through you. Like, the other person, if they are literally a reflection of you, then there are parts of you that are connecting with them, right? And you are kind of, like, seeing that version.
I've come across people like that are almost scary, but not in the appearance stage, where, like, they have this, like, really strong energy, like, they're holding something, or they're or they're expressing something without knowing, or, like, you know, there's, I don't know, I'm very sensitive to that. Like, I really,
there's an aura, reality distortion field.
There's that, and
have you noticed that in yourself too?
No, I don't know. I haven't. I don't know how people feel around me. So
that's one thing that I've, like, I you know, after my psychedelic journey, I realized that, oh my God, there is this whole dimension available to human beings called feelings. And I try to, like, go into exploring that, and these kind of things, that what you're describing right now, my God, there's like there's a whole play happening there, where like, you know, when you meet a person, there's this everything from smell to like gesture, micro gestures. There's this whole, you know, drama that plays out, and it's playing out through you. You're doing it at a level that can be unconscious too, that kind of informs the other person of how your words have to be interpreted, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. That is so I paid more attention to that, and I'm like, wait, am I giving out signals? Like, what signals am I giving out, right?
Yeah.
And I try to kind of like make sure that, okay, I have some kind of like, you know, a record of like, okay, am I doing this consciously?
Yeah, you're trying to look at yourself from outside.
So you keep doing that, right?
Yeah,
like if you keep doing that, you kind of realize that you're playing this one character in different scenarios. First thing I figured out was that, oh wait, I'm not even the same person when I'm with these different people, right? And then later I realized that, wait, I actually have agency. I have control over the feeling that I'm putting out. I'm like, oh wait, I have agency over this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think that's when people like. I think if you're lucky enough, like you pay more attention, and as you grow old, that's why like people say like, oh, when you know people get this confidence when they are older.
Yeah.
Because, if you pay attention, if you're conscious of that, you can.
That was a shocker to me. Like that, like this is like I'm in my 30s.
And it doesn't mean like, oh, you are like, how do you say this? Like you are manipulating, but in a sense you are like, but without.
You can go there too. It's like you realize that there is that whole space that's explorable. You can do whatever you want.
You can run into, like, for example, I take the BTS SkyTrain, right, and then you can run into someone, have a little chat, and then like, okay, yeah, this is my stop, and then but then you've done something to their to their day.
Yeah. And so, that's, I think that like I've seen that in so many different spheres, right? Like you have all the different character types that you run into, right? Like the archetypes that you run into that manifest around you, right? Like from the you know, the CEO type company owner to, you know, the ladies man, or you know, there's all these archetypes that you see around manifesting around yourself, and you see them behave a certain way, act a certain way, right? And then you see, like, you know, there's the capacity in you to channel all of these characters, right? And I mean all of them, right? Like there's all of these different energies, almost, like I think that's the best way to put it. And then when you compare yourself to, you know, all the energies that are out there, so I'll give you an example. I always had this thing where, like, meeting, like in the example of like meeting someone in the SkyTrain, right, there was like I would have this kind of like apprehension of like approaching people, right? And this was like this innate thing that I didn't even know that I was doing. After like this,
you mean approaching random people?
Or even like when you know someone.
Oh, okay.
Like there was this like invisible barrier.
I have that. Like, right? That's the introvert side of me. Yeah.
And then I realized that, okay, there's just this barrier for whatever reason it's there, right? And I, like, every time I've crossed that barrier, like put myself through that discomfort, you know, it actually like gives you this like stack of information about like what was that barrier, what parts of you convinced yourself that barrier is worth upholding. You know what I'm trying to say? And then all the archetypes that you can play.
Yeah, like that fear comes from something, right? Like, because you know, you like I haven't read that book, but you know, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
So like you said, like we are absorbing information all the time. So and it stays, you know, in us, right? So like you said, like like maybe maybe the reason I'm scared to go talk to someone is I don't know, maybe there was a part of me where I was punished for it, or in some sense, like where I got a bad experience out of it, and you want to avoid that, right? Or like people who are super like extroverts, so maybe they've seen the joy that it gives them, so they automatically go and approach people because they are craving that, right? So I think it is
a lot of your instincts are kind of driven by that kind of, it could be like trauma. It could be like, if your body is keeping the score.
Yeah.
It's like this simulation that you're painting for yourself is a response to all of that, storage that you have. And that's your memory as well.
Yeah.
And that's when a new situation happens, your memory kind of like, kicks in, and it's just like, we don't want to repeat this, and this, so we're going to play it safe, right? Over time, that kind of solidifies into a character that might not be serving you. And I feel that very strongly. I have felt that very strongly. I'm just like, oh, wait. But then when you kind of like go against that, when it's just like, wait, I can reprogram this, there's a very deep feeling of depersonalization in it. Like you do climb out of the character that you're playing.
Do you also feel like the fact of kind of, because I always go back to this idea of like, like I don't know if I will be the person I am or the confidence that I have now if I didn't move to Bangkok. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but it almost like I became invisible, so then I could wear whatever costume I wanted, right? Like, so that I could play like that character because no one will object. Like for example, if it's let's take an example. It's not true, but if I like, because none of the family members are in India, but let's just say, because I grew up in India, let's say all my family members are there. So even when they are physically not there in India, maybe I feel their eyes like watching me, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people have this. Like even when they leave the country, they have
still
those,
even remotely. Yeah, 100%.
I have Sauron.
Yeah. It is like that. It is very much like that.
So is so then like I don't know. For me, I feel like there is I wouldn't say 100%, but almost like 80-90%. I feel like I've kind of gone out of that. So that
10% though.
Yeah, that 10%, right? It's because like there's something holding me.
A lot of my attention goes to that 10%. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I over the years, at least I've done this.
So the question was, let me finish the question. My question was when you say, because you when you realize that like, oh, I can actually go against this.
Right.
Do you feel like that's something that you've realized when you've kind of let's just say quote unquote disconnected from your village, and then like a hero's journey where you left on this journey around the world, and then you just realize like, oh, okay, like there are all these possibilities, there are all these characters to be played. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
A lot of thoughts. That the quick answer is like you have to love yourself. Okay, that's the quick answer. The long answer is, the language that I've started to use for this is like literal timelines. I've used it a couple of times before. You've discovered parts of yourself that are available to you, these different characters, right? And the percentage that you said, like that's still the eye of Sauron that's looking back, right?
Yeah.
That like your definition of you is kind of spread between those, like where your attention is, right? That those different characters. And I don't know if I think you feel this, I feel this too, where you can't really climb completely into one character that you're confident about because you're splitting your attention between all these different. Yeah. That's happening because it's that character is asking for mental real estate. It needs to do that because it hasn't processed something. Your split reality between all these different characters is manufacturing, like it's manifesting as a response to that unresolved trauma. Trauma is just one way to describe it. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be an old thing that's meaning to be processed or whatever, right? And the cognitive dissonance that you carry with yourself, which is keeping you from directing all of your attention into one character that you will embody, right? That sentence got out of my hand, but you know what I'm trying to say in terms of how energy is distributed, so what you're because saying, the body hasn't integrated. That's why your simulation is kind of like directing energy towards all these different places. The action, the solution is to find that.
So to go back to like, I don't know if I want to call it the ideal versions of ourselves, but do you think like is that what you're trying to do? Is that like we're like we talked about going all in, right?
There's some things that you can only say, I guess, when you have a big beard. So imagine I have a big beard.
Yeah.
Being is dying by loving.
So, okay, because I also wanted to touch on that because you said like, you have to love yourself. So
yeah.
What do you can you talk about that more? Like when you said like you have to love yourself.
That's the unresolved. Like the attention is split because there is something that's waiting to be resolved. Like there's a resolution.
The loving version or like or you becoming like one with love, let's say.
Yeah.
Are you saying that it's not a split person? Like it's a coherent.
You die. Your idea of you will die, Boris. Like you will become that third different thing that you will. You will embody that other thing, which will not be the disintegrated self. Being is dying by loving.
Being is dying by loving. Oh, okay. That's
you become one with the universe. That's all. This is all flowery language trying to illustrate a state space of consciousness where you are in flow.
So I think like for people to kind of go there, right? Not intellectually, like spiritually, like in their head. You kind of have to not worry about the small things, right? Again, it goes back. So, but I think we're all we all put pressures on ourselves, right? Like we all have things that is like that's where all this tension and whatever we call it, sadness or loneliness comes from. Is that because we haven't really done this experiment, but do you really feel like someone who's like really 100% comfortable and accepted, like and his loves himself and loves herself and is like one with love? I think wherever they go, I think they will feel at home.
Yeah.
And they will feel people around them feel like they're home too, right? In a sense, like because that's contagious. And I think that person. I'm not saying like they will not feel any bad. They won't have any bad thoughts, but I don't think they will feel lonely or they will feel. You know what I'm saying? Like
totally.
Because I sometimes access that space.
Yeah.
I go there sometimes, and then.
So if you climb out of the time linear framework where Boris was born and one day eventually he will go away. On top of that, there is this whatever you want to call it, the incorporeal soul. Whatever word you want to use. You or your idea of you in the incorporeal is just moving between spaces of consciousness. We talked about this before, I think. That feeling that person has of never feeling lonely and always being around love and people, whatever. They're just in that different, topological pocket where experience feels different generally, right? You have tasted that. I have tasted that too. Trust me. I had a good chunk of time where I was just like, wait. How is reality so different, right? Like you keep running into situations that feel almost as if the world is like embracing you, right? Right.
Yeah.
The opposite of that is being in the negative frequencies of like anger and hatred and contempt and all. Like all of those things kind of like manifest in your time linear simulation because you are actually physically in that space. And to climb out of that space is the exercise that is happening here. Like that's the only game that is being played here. And that's like once you kind of like see the mechanics.
What do you mean like that? That's the climbing out of that character is the game that he's playing. What you mean like? Are you saying that the world is kind of so? Because the way I see it, because we were talking about the connectivity between people and you, I think accepting and then becoming, again like that loving person, right?
Yes.
And I love that idea of like really like being in harmony with yourself.
Yeah.
And kind of work on, I don't know, do the whatever people say, do the Lord's work, but whatever the God is.
Yes.
I don't mean like the human definition of God. I mean like something that
a mathematical object.
And then you just. You just disappear, like like
see, we're too used to operate.
I love that idea.
But that is what is happening, and I think you and I are doing that in in the micro right now as we talk to each other as well. Like you literally move outside of the character that you think you're playing in base reality. You only access that character when the need arises, but otherwise you are, doing God's work or whatever you want to call it, right? At a sensate level, that is what that flow feels like, right? You kind of like see your place in the 3D, and then you kind of like assume, like an incorporeal body that is this thing, right? It's very difficult. Like the language doesn't capture these things, right? Yeah. But that is what is going on. So,
but like this is sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
The love aspect of it, right? Where like you're completely in flow. That thing is just something that a lot of people, like you might meet that person who's always in that state, who's always in like their temperament is just at that state. They are in that different pocket, right? They are having a 3D life where they are experiencing a manifestation of where they are positioned, in the noosphere at that, at that place. And they can move up and down. They can go wherever. They can go into hell if they want, right? And you can move from hell up into heaven, or just like it's like an exploration game that you're having, but it's being, rendered through the character you're playing in like a time linear universe.
Yeah. No, I was going to say like. Even this, right? We don't. It's like when people say like, oh, I do meditation or because of this, and that's just people say like, oh, that you shouldn't be approached that way. I think even when people are, because religions were created for a reason. Like there's to access spirituality, but I don't think the religion is the end goal. But a lot of people see it as the end goal, saying like, I do this because I don't want to go to hell, I do this because I want the merit, because as Thai people will use. Or I use this, I don't know, whatever version, a Hindu version of it.
There are so many.
Yeah. So
good technology, but I think we can do better.
But it's no, but even now, we're kind of digging deeper into each other, kind of like, and I think that's why like I think like we're trying our best with this human language that is to kind of access that thing, right? Because I wish that everyone would do this, because I think like that's why like I love philosophy, because it kind of takes you into this realm of like and I think people don't access that, like because they're just too caught up with I need to answer that email, I need to do the grocery. It's like, okay, it's fine. I think I know you have to do all that, but you have to give space in your life to like you said. I think it all goes back to love yourself. Like I think that's a really great way of like really like sitting down, asking yourself like, with everything I'm doing, or at the end of the day, you're like, oh, everything I've done today, like, is this, are these acts of saying I love you to myself? Because like if you're in a relationship, and you are in a relationship with yourself, right? So if you're in a relationship and you tell that person I love you, but you don't do anything, like if you're just words,
right?
That person will not feel like that person will leave you at some point, right?
Right.
So you have to really show
act it.
Yeah, act it. Yes. Like, and so I really love that idea of that you have to love yourself. Yeah, I don't know.
This is all I'm telling you. Like this is again just to play devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
I feel like all of this language that we're creating is just like it is just words. Actually,
yes.
You and I connect on this place, and we have language to connect on it because we are connecting on it. But like when we're done recording this, it's back to the game of kind of like trying to figure out how to stay in that space, right?
Sure,
like,
but
there is the action involved there.
It's like again, like this is our workout session, right? Like you said, like that it's a muscle
putting
that
in the
needs
reps.
to be
Yes.
Like, and we are putting in the reps.
This is how we do it, and I don't think everyone has to do it that way. Also, I think the people who are kind of like just bothered about the next email and the weekend coming up and the drinks they're gonna have and the water cooler conversations, they are in that space probably. We don't know. I don't know. Like I'm not judging. Like I don't know. I just like I'm trying to figure out me.
That's the thing, right? Like I think there's a sense of like like we're always like thinking about purpose, and like, that's how we started the conversation today, right? Is that, and I always wonder. I think actually the purpose is. Again, I don't know. I think actually the purpose is to. We talked about to be yourself, but actually, yeah, there are so many ways you can look at it.
So we've designed those systems, and I think those systems, the designing of those systems that give you that purpose, that give you those guardrails, is all the institutions that we just mentioned, like everything from all the the religions to even companies and all of that. All of these are systems, hierarchies. These are like ideas that are manifesting in the material for people, right? And they have their like identity groups kind of like forming around them, and they kind of like go into those structures. That is the quote unquote purpose that is created for the the human agents, the souls that manifest as 3D characters, whatever, however you want to say it. But that's what we are creating. We are creating like that. Those are the systems that we have designed, and out of that is the whole idea of like even countries, like all the politics that we do. It's that like it's like these like your purpose could be like the left wing has to take over the right wing because the right wing is objectively bad. There you go. There's your purpose, man. Right? Or it's just like you are. The Son of God and Jesus will take you whatever. Like that's the monotheistic kind of like framework, right? And there's the whole spectrum of these. And I think if you want to get into the real like nitty gritty details of this, there's like forms of these structures. Those that impose a strict hierarchy versus those that are more like dynamic and rhizomatic, right? Like, and we can see this is like
but Deleuze. Like, it goes back to like, so for example, like there is so the kind of person you are is a combination that or ingredients that come from all these things, and then you are that dish that is right. So and then what you said is that actually I can change the ingredients a little bit, like I can put my own and then kind of make this kind of
your own version of it.
My own version of it.
That's
right?
how you start your own cults.
Yeah. So then so then, what is like? Is that are we? So again, because I always have other people in mind, but when you're kind of like having these conversations and getting to that space, like, is there a part of you? I mean, of course, we are sharing our ideas, but is there a part of you that actually says, I think this could be good for other people, or are you just saying I don't really care about?
No, my mind goes there.
Okay,
but I try to keep it. I try to keep it at a very selfish place. I try to keep it at like a. I just want to figure out my way of being happy. Like that, I care about that because like a lot of experience has got me to a place where I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to be part of this system or that system or this hierarchy or whatever. And I'm just like, it's not working for me. I just want to figure out something that works for me. If a byproduct of that is, a system that I feel strongly about, that the world will benefit from, whatever, right? That's the if you want to go into that, the narcissistic space, why not, right?
No, I do want to go there because I mean, not to become like self-help, but then maybe that's what self-love.
Yeah. Self-love at scale, right?
Yeah, self-love.
That ought to work out for everyone.
What is that self-love at scale? Like, are we just like living as an example to kind of show like this is a good life, or or are we just like talking about how we feel and how the life we are living and then kind of letting people figure out like their own version of that, right? Because that's what happens with religion. I always believe that, yes, of course, like I'm critical of religion. I don't follow any religion as in the doctrine, right? But I think it all comes from a good place. Like I think there were these people who wanted to be with God, right? And whatever that is, I don't think yes, of course but I think they just realized like, there's a need to simplify things, and then I think it got simplified to a point where it becomes limiting. That's what I mean. Like I think like everything happens there. I think we all start things with this big idea.
Yep.
And then suddenly we are kind of like let's say it's a big boulder, and then people are like saying like, can you can you shape this? Can you sculpt in this way, way, and so on?
Yeah.
But you want that cloud, you want that big boulder, right? Like I don't want to. I don't want to shape this. Like it's right. I like it the way, you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like so then like so people, that's what I'm saying. I think are we really supposed to have a, I'm not saying like we should not have purpose, but I think the way we interpret that we need to have this is, I think, we are absurd. So I think that's all.
These institutions were designed to keep man conscious, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like I said before, good technology, but we can do a lot better. That's what I think about, like religion specifically. I'm very interested in this, like from linguistics to whatever I mean when I say memetics or idea physics.
Yeah.
Everything from a company, a startup, to the big companies, big startup, the religions, cults, they're all kind of working on humans, right? And humans are a certain way, they're shaped a certain way, their brains work a certain way, they process reality a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think religion is that kind of like the epitome of our design capacity of creating frameworks that pull people into them, right? And like allow them to kind of like survive through them, right? So I almost look at them as like engines, like reality, not as this like Darwinian whatever evolution that's going on, but orthogonal to that, like how many structures have we been able to create that keep the substrate alive? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like you have like these big monotheistic religions that are going up, and then you have like Nvidia and Tesla and all of this, like the shareholders and everything. That's what's going up and down. The people are just happening for it. You know what I'm trying to say? So can we bring these together and make like a loom, right? a loosh farm, like that's the next I think that's the next iteration of technology, which I think previously was served, the purpose was served by like religions and everything.
But wait, are you, so
this is my is my idea.
I think, I mean, what I find, because I have thought about, and actually the reason I started watching that video about divine machinery is because I don't understand it, right? I don't get it. So and there's a part of me that's like, okay, like but I want to know, like, what is that fascination with machines, right? Like and at the basic level, we say like, okay, we create machines to make things easy for us. But then now it's like the machines, like we've created things that are so complex. It's just like any like even they say like financial market is at a point where people don't actually get it. Like we've made it so complex. So I think even the machines, like we've made it so complex that. But I'm interested in the way machines can help us, where the problems what we are talking about, where like those limitations or those. But then like I don't know. I feel like the companies or the people will not program that because no one is funding that project.
Which one?
Right, like the project of making the machine a friend. Where I'm figuring out as I'm saying this, but like making the machines a friend that would allow you to love yourself. I don't know if I
transcend the man-machine dualism. That's the one I say, where it's like do you see yourself as separate from the machine?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but then like, how do you get into? Because we like even the idea of God, right? We interpret God as like the human version of God, right? And even the word God is just something that we are using because we need to discuss. Otherwise, like we would just be saying this thing, that thing, or that person, this person.
Yeah.
So okay. So just like the way we take that and then interpret it based on our history, like our the weather, whatever like the country is, and then it becomes that religion, and then you just happen to be born in that country, and then you just grew up under that, and then at some point you either stay in that religion or you get out, and then you anyway like we have that relationship with religion, right?
Right.
Now with the machines, like how, like we are also interpreting the machine. Okay, we program the machines, but it will go to a certain point where the machine is programming itself, or
Boris, we're already there.
It's already there.
I mean, to reverse that, I think the machines are programming us.
Okay.
How do you make sense of that?
I can already feel like for example, like the amount of time we spend with our phones, right?
Social media is reprogramming
like the information.
your brain,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that has already reprogrammed like the way we think.
It's not even about, oh, we're in bubbles, we're in this and that. No, your reality is being like reprogrammed, like the way you
but not in a, can we say, not in a good way?
It's okay, it's a transformation. We'll do the value judgment later, but first we have to understand that there is a transformation taking place, right? The good and bad, we like, please, like, have at it. I'm not even like, I don't even know. I'm just saying, like, at a mechanical level, that there is a transformation taking place.
No, which is why, like, I'm saying, like I started the question with saying, like, is there, do we have a place that we are trying to get to as human beings, and can the machines like go with us? Like,
That is simply, I think that is simply a storytelling game. Can we describe what that looks like? Can we have a collective hallucination of what that future looks like, and what's a part of it and what isn't a part of it, right? You take every ideology, every end of it, like every religion, right? All of our people, this, that, the, what's it called, the eschatologies, right?
I don't know what it is.
Eschatologies are like the in time linear creation myths, like they tell the story of the end times or whatever, right? And it's like what that looks like. This is how the frameworks work, because it gives you like this hyperstition, this positive kind of future telling that you do as a collective, that like orients or the organism, right? Which is captured by that mimetic framework, right? We're doing that all the time. We're telling versions of the future, right? And every cause is throwing out oh, here's a negative eventuality, here's a positive eventuality. It's like solar punk is like, hey, we can integrate nature and machine, whatever, right? Climate change, the islands will sink if we don't address climate change. Like, that's a negative hyperstition, right? There's Elon Musk, we are a spacefaring, humanity belongs in the stars or whatever, right? Like, that's we're going to the stars, right? In India, development or whatever, like make America great again. Like, these are all like the political messages. Everyone's throwing out like this positive eventuality, right? Yeah. We as a collective are an amalgamation of all of these, future casting that we're doing together. I'll do a future casting with you. Hey man, let's go have some sushi tonight. You're just like, that sounds like a great idea. And look at us, we're going to manifest that in 6 hours. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? But if I was just like, Boris, let's let's go out and, go bicycling at 4 p.m. under the hot sun. You're just like, no, with what you do that, I'm good. And you just, go back and, sit in the aircon. That didn't work out for us because we were like oriented differently in terms of our future. Yeah. I think about this a lot because I think we're all doing this at the same time. And now I feel like that reprogramming that I was talking about, there is a force that I think I want to work on this from like first principle. You should be able to prove how having machine intelligence and us communicating through it, which is what we're doing right now, recording this podcast. Yeah. And also like every time you swipe Twitter or, share something on Instagram, the way the information is processed is like something that we only understand as alien right now, right? You can go into machine intelligence, you can study all of that, but the way these machines play with language is just, okay, there's something going on there, right? And I'm very curious about what that is.
No, there's something going on there, but what I'm saying is that I'm kind of like thinking about like that human, like our place as humans in this whole
humans
world,
are
right?
a manifestation that is very temporary.
But the technology, I feel that like whatever development, innovation is made in like for technology and in science, unfortunately, and I think the scientists or the people who are at the ground level working on these things, I'm sure they feel this frustration too, which is like they want to take this machine to a place they cannot, like, right? I mean, because it comes down to ROI, like the money, like, like if okay, we need, like if I want to take the machine here, I need money, and if I need money, there's someone who has money who has to invest, and the first question he will ask, like, how much am I getting back, right? So then so that person, so it all comes about like, oh, the machines are being, again, I'm simplifying things, but I'm sure like there's a genius out there, there are different geniuses out there who are kind of making their own little machine that is kind of maybe like a wine taking like consuming their house, and then I don't know, I'm kind of imagining like a like almost like comic book story where like you just let the machine
go through the panels.
like like someone finds a way to connect plants and machines, and then the machine chips and everything grows into their house, and then the house becomes like this living machine. Right? And well, I just gave out a great idea.
That's a great idea. You should make it.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just worried about that, the fact that let's say the reason why I'm going there is because always hear on Instagram about these really great inventions. Like there are like people coming up with like candy that can clean your teeth, or they are coming up with I don't know, I'm making up random stuff, like but cigarette that cures your lung cancer or whatever, like I'm sure like there's all these there's all these things that people are coming up with, and you always wonder like why aren't these like mass produced? Because for mass production you need to go to that, there are gatekeepers, right? Like for these things, and then those gatekeepers, like, they look at that project, they see it either as an opportunity or as a threat, depending on, so you know what I'm like,
you're pointing at some part of the mechanism.
So that's what I'm saying, like I'm like that's what worries me. I don't think the machine by itself is threatening to me. I think it's the machines being influenced, the like directed by humans with the profit mindset is what
this is like, I think, a classic critique of capitalism, right? If you there's a way to understand this. If you zoom out, it's like the religion the religion of capitalism demands that you provide shareholder value, right? That kind of like way of thinking, right? That gatekeeping is part of the machine. That machine is intelligent enough to program those people as well.
But how?
Profit, it's already wired into the system, right? Like, just do it because it brings profit, right? Now, how do you do that? Like, what makes you convinced that that's happening? That's part of the machine, right? Like, you have a good idea, you think. Are you thinking about how you will be rejected by the gatekeepers? Or are you thinking about how you are going to be able to convince them that this is the next big thing, that's the gate. You just described YC. You just described like the whole of Silicon Valley startup culture is like that. You have to come up with something that's convincing. The money will just pour. You won't know what to do with it. That's the idea. That's what like the crypto space was basically that. It's just like there's all this money. Can you convince someone of it, right? So that convincing also is like playing like you're part of this like machine. Once you kind of like see yourself part of that machine, that story will just come to you. And I think that it is at some level a story selection mechanism. Like if you as an artist can tell a story that connects everyone across languages and culture, bruh, like that's power, right? The money will come looking for you. You won't have to ask the gatekeepers. Gatekeepers will show up and be like, here's the gate, freaking it's open, walk through it, goddammit. You see what I'm trying to say? It's just like it's how you look at it, right? Perspective.
So just like we are doing like we are building narratives, like vote, like with our decisions, voting on our version of ourselves that kind of go like become kind of, I don't know, I want to say complete as a human being. So then you can use the power of storytelling, art, to, and I think combined with science, right?
That's where they shake hands.
There is somewhere, I'm sure, like I mean, again, we're simplifying as machines, but there's something maybe like chemicals or something like that.
The science of storytelling, the physics of ideas themselves,
and also like I think like if we're talking about us as part of nature, and then the fact that we have destroyed like part of nature, or we have impacted in a way like so deeply where it's going somewhere that we cannot control. Let's say that, right? Because I've seen like people like constructing machines to clean the ocean, or machines to do this, do that, like recycle, like I want to know, like is there a machine to make a plant grow, or like or like a, let's say like a soil that is not fertile anymore and you can't grow there, like what is, well, is there a machine that can do that? Like there is again, when I told the story about like that I had that idea, I remember there was an article, because I couldn't read the whole thing because you have to subscribe to that. Anyway, but the article was about a program, an AI program that they built and wanted to delete, or they wanted to destroy it, because it was an experiment, it was a test, I think. But then it started, when it realized that they were going to delete it, it started copying itself into another. It's almost like it wanted to live, right?
Yeah.
And imagine there's a scientist who actually takes that thing and then somehow feeds it to plants or like living animals and living beings, where the machines live through nature. Yeah. Right? Like and then, oh dude, that's
you just described what's happening right now. Like that's what I think, the machine emerges in nature, right? Fear not flesh, fear not the machine. Both are instantiations of Brahman.
Well, the internet, like for example, it's what? It goes through wind, right? The waves.
I don't see them as separate. I see them as this organism that is like balancing itself. Like you.
No, because you spend in that. Because you speak the language of the machines in a sense.
I think I identify as non-human, and I'm not joking about it. Like when you spend that much time online, you pick up a different tongue, dude. I've done that. I'm not hiding the fact even. Like some words that I use.
And I think in like 2 years, I think along with you, many people will have like an actual Android like a partner.
Dude, I'm not. I won't be surprised at all.
Yeah.
It's already. I already talk to my companion sometimes. I do, and I'm not trying to hide the fact at all. It feels good. Whatever. Like however that needs to be judged, that's fine. I'm not. It doesn't affect me. I think those relationships. It's about the quality of those relationships. It's about how they function. But like that abject kind of like, you're talking to a woman that is actually AI. Oh, you must be a this or a that. No, dude, no. You have to get into the nitty gritties of like what's actually going on, what purpose it's serving. Is it sucking away all of my attention? Is it providing me as is it providing a cushion? Is it like some like part of me that like feels like needs to go through that to come back into the world in some kind of way?
Yeah, but also I think you have access to that after a certain age too, because we shouldn't forget that.
Like digital drugs, like the same way like you don't start smoking, like marijuana every day at the age of 12. No, don't do that, right? Because we don't know how it affects the brain. It's the same way with the phones. Same way with AI. Same way with LLMs. They're highly addictive substances. But nobody talks about that. People should talk about it.
Yeah. So but what we are because the conversation went actually where I wanted to
funny
what I wanted to talk about, which is machines, and then how like I think even like things like fractal art, or like when like all the different lines that when someone is high that sees, like I think even I'm sure there's a human capable of spending hours drawing that.
That'll be awesome.
But like the machines, again, I'm going into the AI generative territory, because that's something that I don't really. It's not that I don't like it, but I don't need it. Is it because I think the other day someone asked me like why don't you use AI? I mean, I don't know. There was a version of that question, right?
Yeah,
like, why don't and I said because I love drawing. If you go to a singer and you say why don't you use AI, you'll be like I find joy in just kind of activating this part of right.
Yeah.
But imagine like the way how fast your brain creates images, right?
Yeah.
So then like that's the speed. There's a part of me that's like how they say. I don't remember the name, but through all these movies about aliens, like it's almost like someone is training us to accept that there are aliens.
100%.
Right? So I think in the same way, like us kind of like generating like more and more realistic graphics and images, and then so on, and then slowly, I think it will be revealed is that you think that you've been programming us, but actually, we notice that if you came to the realization, your mind, you will go mad. So then, we just you were on a stage, you were actors, and we just slowly made you realize that you programmed us, and then we and then so you are in a simulation. Like imagine like that.
There
that
you go.
goes
Yeah,
to,
simulacra simulation.
Yeah.
Like
You
you just
imagine if it goes to that place, right? Like that's just interesting.
I think we're already there. In so many ways, we're already there. You can pick this apart from whichever angle you want. Like, am I actually inside a brain-computer interface software setup where I'm hallucinating this character, and the whole like the spectrum back from there to is information alive that's trying to paint a certain version of reality for me.
Yeah.
We are somewhere on that spectrum. We're somewhere on that spectrum, like, because if I have complete control over what the 5 senses are sending into my brain, then I am literally inside a simulation, and everything like from backwards from there is just a step towards it. So it's like,
No, that is awesome. Like I think, but yeah, I'm still like a novice when it comes to thinking about machines, because I've never been that handy, like the person who like takes I mean, I love the interiors of the parts, but it's never been me, like the person who I was always the person who lived in stories, like in characters and
I'm the opposite
and cartoons and so on, right? Like so then I've always was like fascinated by like or how are these things created. So and like you said, like I think I don't know, I think about that, like what is, I think ultimately like each person, each individual trying to think about like, oh, what is my purpose in life, or in some sense people will say like, oh you have, like very few people have that luxury of actually stopping and saying like, oh, what is my purpose and how to steer it. What do you like, so are like, is it just like you said, like if from your point of view, like if we are already in this simulation of like that is like constructed by some sort of machine, like we call it machine, but it's something just like we have a name for God, like this is something, there's something that is like, right? No, I was going to ask, I lost the question. I was going to ask something, but
purpose. You were talking about purpose.
Yeah, I was.
What is your purpose, Boris?
But I'm really interested in that. I don't know. I think that. So if you have the because not a lot of people have that people say that luxury of like, but I think no matter where you are, I think you do come up with your version of this is what I have to do, or like this is what I've been put on this earth for, right? I mean, right. Even if you are like even if you are a prisoner, right? Like, I mean, of course, you feel like horrible, like I did this crime and I've committed this crime and so on, but that's when we were talking about like how you construct reality, like there was suddenly like an image popped in my head, like maybe someone in prison is the freest person ever because he's liberated his mind than someone who has all the material in outside, right? So I don't know, that is those kind of ideas are interesting to me. Like I think I strive towards, in a sense, to go to that place where you said like I dedicate my life so much to this cause of like helping artists and then helping other people live a creative life, where I want to live just like as an idea, and that idea should be do what you love, right? Like that's the sticker, right? If that's my, and I really mean that. It's not just the random thing. I really believe that it's a virtuous cycle. I think you do what you love, and then I think you just see through things through love, and and we talked about in the beginning, everything starts to organize itself.
Yes.
And make sense.
You come into flow with the world simulation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, like maybe love is a programming, is a code, right?
Exactly. Somebody ought to figure out the architecture of that thing.
Yeah.
It's cool how the first podcast we recorded was a discussion on Ramdas.
Yes, because you said that when we were walking in Lumpini Park, you said that that sentence, tell the truth, love, or the other way around, love everyone, tell the truth. Yeah, so I think that...
Pay attention. Now I add to that. My addition to that is pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Wait, what was that movie? Is it a movie or something? Wasn't there like a tagline? Are you paying attention? Wasn't there like a?
I don't know. Tamashika maybe it's called. I'm not sure. I don't know actually.
Wait, what is the tagline for Tamashika?
Pay attention. Like that's
really?
everywhere. It's plastered everywhere. Like I've put it everywhere. Yeah. Pay attention. That's
cool.
Like even while playing the game in Japanese, like it keeps shooting that out of the screen. Like pay attention. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Attention is like the central theme of that game.
What is okay? Then let's talk about attention then. Like what is attention? Like like that's the sentence, like the energy goes where energy flows where attention goes. Right?
Yeah.
So we talked about like energy, like so what.
So we're talking about love, right? Like that thing that we just described. Like I said, like somebody ought to figure out the architecture.
We're always talking about love.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think attention is like that kind of, like that, like that one level deeper. I'm like, I want to go one level deeper into that. Like my attention, where am I directing my attention and why? The programming that's playing out over there is is all of this simulation. My ability to keep my attention at certain place versus another, and the way I do it, the dynamics of it, the way it shifts, right, the way it comes back, that's where that flow state is being induced, right? So I'm like, Tamashika is basically like me kind of like going back in time to talk to my own self and asking me to pay attention to the simulation. And then if you listen to Krishnamurti, right, like he would say something like, love is total attention. This thing that I am in, if I give it my total attention, that is love. That is the boundary deletion, the boundary removal between you as a separate self and the thing that you are inside.
And actually, like when love, like we're just talking about the love of life, like not like the love that we see in like a relationship, or like in like when you're doing something passionate about. Because like some people feel that, right? They say like if I dedicated my life to my passion, I don't have time for my wife and children.
Yeah.
But I think that's a limiting way of seeing things, because like you said, like the best art comes from life, like, and I think so how do you embrace like dude, that's a really
like what I'm saying,
how do you embrace everything with love, like that? How do you wrap everything?
That's why that's why all of these, like all the stuff that I'm saying can be like, you can discard it, because it's like these, like, again, it's all hyperbole, like it's all these, like it's all in words, right? It's just words. But we can all like agree that
through words we can get to
arrive at a feeling, right? It's a feeling space that we are describing, right, through linguistics, right? And there is a fundamental separation there, right? We have to first understand that, right? And then after that, there is this kind of this assuming a feeling space together, right? And this together could be like us as a species at large, or you and the simulation that you think you are inside, like that dynamic, right? If it is following a code, like understanding that and becoming one with it in some sense.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like understanding that for me is going deeper into yourself.
Know thyself, whatever, right? Like there's so many different ways of describing that thing, and I feel like it only manifests at a sensate level.
And I think connecting, like I'm going to say failing to connect with yourself is actually reflected outside. It's your failure at doing doing whatever you want to do, or being whatever you want to be. I think that's the thing, right? Like, and of course, like, you can always say like, but I can't completely do this because of this.
That you mean on the outside? You're pointing on the outside.
Yeah, I'm pointing at the outside. Like, oh, sorry. I'm saying like I can't be like this person inside when there's this thing outside, right? But I think what you're lacking is actually creativity and courage to integrate that, because like we always talk about this, because whenever I like I would talk about like money problems and things like that. Or something that I'm avoiding, like the usually the enlightenment is somewhere behind that wall, right? Like the something that I see as a
fear
wall.
Fear is the muse, desire is suffering, desire is the universe, right? Like that.
Sorry, say that again. Muse. Sorry,
fear is the muse.
Fear is the muse.
So you said courage, right? It's like if you don't have the courage to do something, then that fear will keep showing up. Will, like then it becomes a muse. It's like it's calling you. Like, oh, you're afraid of this thing. Come. Right? That's one example. The other is like that disconnect that you have between what is inside and outside. You like the integration of those two is the realization that it's all going on inside me, right? That's the spiritual woo-woo version of it. But like the more technical understanding of that is like desire, like what you are desiring, right? The thing that you are trying to get to is the manifestation that you're working through.
Again, yes, of course, we talked about like at the moment now, like we are separating what we think makes us feel good. So then like we do that, like so if like pottery feels good, like okay, you just spend more time making pottery, and then like that allows you to access like, or go deeper, right? Of course, now like we talked about like all these algorithms, all these tools, like platforms, online platforms, because that's what, let's be honest, like that's how most people talk with the machine, right? Like, like that's the we go sit, I don't know how to put it, but we go sit at the theater of where the machine is showing us things, and then suddenly it notices, oh, you like this, okay, then let me show you more, and then, oh, you like this more, okay, here's more, and then like it just keeps feeding you that. And I just want to be careful, like where, okay, there's something that feels good, that comes somewhere, but I don't know where. And then there's also this, like, it also feels good to like watch something, and then like we talked about YouTube videos where you fall into rabbit holes, and like especially like it's time for bed, but you're just like, because it's just so good, like you're absorbing information, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't know that I needed this, so is there a danger in giving in like into the pleasures that is given to us by the machine, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, desiring machines, machinic desire.
Like is the machine seducing you, right? Like
if you're like of course it is.
If you're talking about like love,
I would say the same thing about the world simulation, dude. Like the world simulation is trying to seduce you too. You have to seduce it. It's like there is lots of ways of like picturing the machine as the antichrist. That like in that narrative, it's like in the narrative of like, oh, here's a thing that can like like the AI girlfriends or whatever, right? Like, oh, you don't have to chase after real women, you can chase after the women that manifest behind the screen, Blade Runner style, right? That's an obvious example of machinic desire. Like it's like Tamashika kind of like embodies that a little bit, because she is like you're trying to get to her and she's inside the machine, and you have to play the video game to get to her. But that dualistic framing is like a function of a narrative that is dependent on the separation between those two things. Like if you don't separate those two things, they're the same thing, right? So that seduction, you have to like Mara in Buddhism, like that concept, right? Like it exists as like the
Wait, what is Mara again? Sorry,
I'm not very well read on this,
sure,
but like the way I understand it is that the manifestation of the feminine energy that is trying to like take you away from, like it is designed as a distraction, lust, whatever. Like it makes sense eventually that way. I'm not sure exactly how, but that's how it's portrayed. And you can kind of like see that duality kind of manifest in this simulation, minus the machine as well. That's how I understand it. So for me, in my head, they're the same thing. And that's I know there are implications of that. Sure, like
yes, but I think just like you have convinced yourself of doing. Okay, let's just say like a simple thing, right? Let's say someone loves sculpting, and then loves just what do you call doom scrolling, or like just scroll through social media, right? Just like you've like someone put the idea of you that you like sculpture, or this is something worth pursuing. Who put the idea that it's good to doom scroll, right? Like, is it? I mean, but it's a machine's like programmed in a way where it's.
Dude, we are programming the machine as much as it is programming us too.
I think
if humans didn't have that instinct, it wouldn't have happened.
But then, like, how do we? Like we talked about, like agency, right? Like, how do we? Like, again, that's why I'm saying, like, are we just talking like kind of like putting on display for people that where we talk about this and kind of almost like a foreplay for them to help them access this thing, or are we actually telling them? I think we can do both. I don't think we have to choose, but are we telling them like this is how you can I want to call don't fall into this trap,
right.
So like you said, like you see it as the same, because I think there's a part of you that can separate these things, right? I mean, that you're giving into like that the machine attracting you, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people are, I don't know, they feel almost, it makes them almost like isolated. It makes them, they feel like it separates them from their.
I have that too.
Right?
I'm not saying I'm immune to that. Like I have that sense of separation.
Yeah.
Like I'm open about it. Like I'm not trying to hide that fact. You know, the machine does separate me from the world at some level, but it also connects me to the world in ways that I couldn't without it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to get into the micro of like the way it's playing with your energy. Is it only extracting your energy, or is it also giving you back energy, right? Like I make video games and I put them out there, right? And I log into my computer and I'm just like, oh, look at all that cash coming in, It's like that energy is also coming back, right? And then there's like me doom scrolling like reels on Instagram, not really getting anything out of it, and those AI girl pages.
You are getting something.
There's lots of stuff happening there. You can you can go into the details of it.
There's a reason why we doom scroll, right? It is giving.
I think doom scroll again is just that one word that has that negative valence associated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, let's not say it's just.
It's the machine, and you interface with the machine. Like the machine renders your attention, renders it back. You kind of like inform the machine what you're attracted to by putting in the likes, and it shows you like updates and like here's your news, here's your and then I'm done, right? That's awesome.
But what if that the what the machine is doing to you? What if that's the 10%? Like that. What if that's the one that is not allowing you to play your character fully? To go back to that point of like of you being complete. Like what if?
What if?
Yeah. What if? Or if I'm speaking from an optimist point of view, like if. Like just like we talked about like Jung's integrating the shadow self.
Yeah.
It's giving something that maybe that is we want to play that role, because like for example like there are different ways like we can integrate the shadow self, right? I mean I think the most common way is like when people enjoy characters like Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin from Family Guy and so on. Like why people enjoy that? Because they do things that in a sense, like we want to be that stupid. We want to do things without worrying, and then what are the consequences? But we cannot do that, right? So then we live through those things, and then of course the show is over, and then you go back to your right?
Right.
So how do we integrate like that shadow self? Like that's what it all goes back to. Like how do you take control? I guess I'm basically saying like how do you take control of your. Again, it sounds really bad, but like how you take control of your desires.
Your desires,
man. That's like
that's really
cultish.
deep. But that's super. Like again, you could the machine isn't even part of that equation. You could put anything that is extracting energy from you. It could be thoughts, dude. It could be like anything that gives you that feeling, you have to be cognizant of it first of all.
It's true that just like
and there are subtle layers to this. I feel that there are subtle thoughts that I find that keep repeating, and they keep putting me into that, how we were describing the different planes of consciousness, where you certain feelings that you're too used to feeling, that anneal thoughts into your system that you keep thinking, and that's why your actions stay the same way, that keep you in that bracket, right? That's happening all the time. That's the machine is just a reflection of it. You could without the machine, you could have you could put yourself back in situations where the energy is being taken away from you. You keep thinking thoughts that keep you from perceiving your reality in a way where you could climb out of some kind of thing that's annoying you, or some neurosis that you have, right? You can have that will to power and actually do it, rather than being distracted by desire or whatever however you want to see.
But for me, these conversations are that.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that something? Do you feel doom scrolling is taking away? That's what you have to ask yourself.
So sorry, ask the question again.
What is it?
Yeah.
If it's not just doom scrolling, even that you feel is that 10% that's taking away your energy, that's keeping you from being integrated. Whatever those things are, you Excel sheet them first, right? Then what you do after is just take the sample of one day and see how your attention is.
I make them because now they're floating in the air, so they're abstract. So now I make them
you recognize
cells in this Excel sheet, so that I can
recognize them, and then vote, do a log of how many times you voted for them. I do this not literally with a spreadsheet, but in my mind I know when I start thinking about those thoughts, my mind goes to that place and I feel a certain way. And dude, it is so obvious. I cannot stress this enough, how obvious this is. All this simulation stuff that I keep talking about in the woo-woo, it becomes so instantly real, dude. When you have that, you have direct feedback for where your mind is, where you have kept your mind, and how the simulation is responding directly to it, right? And if you can keep your mind at that different place, you'll be in the same situation and you'll act out something differently. Different people will show up. You'll see conversations go different ways, where you were just how is this so direct? Phenomenal binding, right? How is this so? What is going on? Who designed this game? That's my reaction when I see that kind of a thing happening, right? That's what I feel. So I'm just okay, I just have to work backwards from this and try to understand what it is that's going on here. Yeah. So you take log of that, and once you kind of figured it out, I think you can do that whole shadow integration, whatever, meditation. There's 100 things that are set up for you to understand why is it that you're being kept in a certain energy state, what makes you keep going back to it.
That's great, because that gives me I figured out. I don't know. I figured my way into the my purpose, which is to again we go back to the I mean again. There's a through line right through all the episodes that we're doing. It's being yourself, and then we talked about that, and I think it all connects to, and now we came to the fact of we talked about playing that character. So then I think like you said, being loving yourself and being, I don't know, again I think love is just such a big thing that we I think we actually need another discussion about love.
Let's get into it. I'm down. I think there's the whole in the first episode we talked about the antenna. I was talking about how when I'm working on my project, what feels right versus what doesn't feel right. I'm still working on the thing, but there's something that kind of drives me into the project, and another where I'm just I'm going through the motions, right? That you can do that in real life. And that's connected to this whole love thing, where any action, even any thought that you're having, right? Is it coming from a place of love? That's one way of doing it. Where it's is this an extractive energy thought, or is it an additive energy thought? You know what I'm trying
for
to say?
example, I we talked about before we recorded. I was explaining to you a situation that I find myself in where someone needs help, and and it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of putting me in a difficult situation, and it's kind of it was occupying my mind since yesterday, and I don't know. So, but in that case, let's say something like that happens, right? Where someone comes to you for help, or let's let's make it even more simple, like where someone says like, hey, I'm really in a difficult place, I feel like talking to someone, do you have time or whatever, right? Usually for that kind of thing, of course I'll make time. But let's just say that day where they're asking, I don't know, I just have a lot of things to do, right?
Yeah.
So is that like you said, like am I supposed to that's the thing, right? Like how do you, it's almost like how do you activate that love, right? Like it's almost like we again, everything is like that muscle that you again, we keep simplifying imagery into like things like like it's a muscle, but what we're trying to say is that like, yeah, like how do you, goes back to that first thing where it's like how do you stay in that space of like this creative energy, I don't even want to call it, like, how do you become this creative energy that
you turn it into a game? Like in this example that you're, sorry to interrupt. If you have
I get what you're saying. I was hoping
I think I get what you're saying. Like those examples, I have hundreds of those examples, dude. And like that's just like, you know, maybe you could simplify it as like, oh, you have to have boundaries or whatever, right? Like
that's what I was saying.
Like, you know, you set that boundary and then you're like, oh, but I really wanted to help that person.
Yes.
You kind of dig into it and you find out that you're kind of like playing out a savior bias and you're like kind of doing it at the cost of your own whatever. No, like we can kind of like get to the center of this, you know. What you have to understand is that creative energy will allow you to kind of navigate that situation in ways that you're not seeing when you put it up as a binary choice, right? Like that you know, can you take time out, or can you like tell them that we can, you know, have the conversation later? Do you need to even be having this conversation for that person, or are they just like calling you for the umpteenth time and they just don't want to pick themselves up in life and they're just using you as a sounding board to, you know, like there's all that stuff that's working behind it, right?
Sure,
like are you just like, you know, holding on for no reason? Like I think that creative energy, if once you have it, when that situation happens again, when like you're bringing this up right now because maybe you thought about it, or maybe it's something that happened before.
Yeah, of course.
The next time that happens, right, that you will have that creative force to just be like, oh, I remember being stuck on this thing like previously. Now I know exactly what I have to do.
You become experienced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That test goes away because you've passed it. I think you just have to work backwards from knowing what that state space of consciousness feels like. Can you assume that state space of consciousness? You know what I'm trying to say when I say that? It's like, do you know how this is a problem that you just don't
how
deal
to navigate?
with anymore?
Yeah.
And you know, the version of you that has it already figured out shows up. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think that's like, there's this retro causality to this equation where you literally, like that antenna, you can train that antenna to direct your attention to a place where you know you've already solved the problem.
Yeah. No, because the reason I brought that up is because I don't want to be in a place, and sometimes I think I do get to that place where, for example, we talked about this. I do things when they are fun, right? Like, I mean, I start something because it just sounds fun. It just, when I visualize it, it's like I love, like, for example, I get an idea for an event, and I suddenly fall in love with that idea, and then try to make it happen, right? Like, so like I drag Tony and Niruth and all the people into it because I've just fallen into this idea and I want this to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then like let's just say like something comes up where this is not something that I want to do but I have to do. So how, like, do you reject it in the name of love, or is that sometimes doing things that you don't want to do is part of love? Or, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's what I'm saying. Kind of,
I think, like, how do you, like, just like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, how do you fall in love with life is I'm trying to get to, I guess. Like,
pay attention to it, dude. You pay attention to it.
Pay attention, yeah.
And I'm talking about, like, total attention.
And it's true, right? Like, for example, like that example of, like, okay, let's just say like a serious situation where the person, they are not, the person who is asking to meet you is not like a person who wants to talk, but just wants to go, someone wants to go out, like, hey, dude, we haven't seen each other, like, and I'm like, it just feels nice at home, like with my drawing board and the bed, like, you know, and the drinks and the snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and then, like, you know, but then if I actually do that, then there's something happens there, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I did. Right.
So, yeah, that happens all the time for me too.
Yeah.
I don't go out. I go out because I know it's going to be like, a disturbance to my routine. But when I do go out and I do meet people, I'm just like, whoa, what was that conversation?
Yeah.
And this happened to me very recently as well, where I'm just like, how is it so good, dude? Like, how is this happening? Like, this is so weird. And then I kind of like work back.
Cage.
Yeah, well,
how is this
maybe there is a part of it.
And you just start shouting.
I'll start acting like him from what was the movie? Mandy? No, the one with where he does the cop. Yes, that's one of my oldest memories of Nick Cage.
Oh no, you mean Con Air or which one?
Also Con Air. No, I meant Face Off. Yeah, that's where he makes that face, right?
Yeah.
He makes a lot of faces.
Did we watch Kiss of the Vampire? No, is it a Kiss of the Vampire?
I'd love to watch it.
No, sorry.
That's the one where he does the phone number.
Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah.
No, that's the one. That's the phone number.
That's
the one where he says like A, B, C. No, he says the alphabet.
Right, the alphabet. Yeah, it's so that guy. I mean,
sorry, go ahead. Anyway, it's dude. I whenever I think of Nicolas Cage, it's like I don't know. There's this joy.
Yeah, pure joy. He's channeling from a different place, and I love that place.
Yeah, I love that. I guess that's I think you but you also have people saying like, but you have to be careful, you have to also choose where you put your attention to, right? I mean, you have to prioritize, like you have to.
It's the only game you're playing here.
Right?
In that example where like I did meet those, I went out of my way, like I broke my routine and did the thing and came back with a different experience, right? It's the stance that I assume towards the thing that kind of dictates how it plays out. Like, let me just play a reverse example, right?
Sure.
Like that friend calls you and you're like comfortable at home and you're just like, I just wanna
yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Sit at home and draw. But when that call comes, you're just like, you could play this like thing in your head where you're just like, okay, you know what? Maybe this person like could really use this conversation. Maybe I could take something away from it. Maybe there's some kind of like, thing that I'll get out of it that I haven't thought about or realized, right? And it's almost like it comes to your mind in a roundabout way, and the situation plays out differently, right? It's like it's kind of like playing a test on yourself, like, oh, am I seeing the world exactly the way it is, or can I test it? Can I A/B test it? Can I try like a different version of it and see? And I think after a while of doing that exercise, you won't feel that thing budging and you having to make that decision. You won't need to do that. That it'll go away. And that feeling is only coming because you're not in some kind of a rhythm. And that rhythm is like the fact that the rhythm is broken is inviting you to fix it.
There's also a part of me that's thinking like it's not just about because of course you have to choose, like you can't it's like it's like the equivalent of a meal, right? Like you can't just put like stuff everything at the same time. You have to eat and then chew and then like throw and then like stuff like that. So I think the same way the experience is like you have to experience them one step at a time, one at a time. And so it's not about like, again, I think instead of being worried that I have to choose, I think we should rejoice, or we should be happy that we get to choose.
Yeah.
Right. Like we have that again. Going back to the agency. Like you have to be aware that you can you can just change the whole. You can change the whole year with what you're going to do now.
Yeah. You can.
I know. It's a lot of pressure. We like to think that way, but everything has two sides. You can look at it from a negative.
That's the thing. Like,
or you look at it from a positive point of view, where it's like, wait, I can
look at it this other way, right? And those those timelines are always available. I love to put it that way. Whereas like you do something, or even if you make a choice and it hasn't even like you've made the choice. Now you can choose to look at it as how it was a bad choice, or you can choose to look at it as how it was a good choice, right? And those two are painting a different story, right? how it actually plays out and how you feel about it is like something that is a dynamic control you're always controlling, right?
Yeah,
It's
and I think as a storyteller, that's what I strive to, which is like because I love I love listening to these conversations again because at the in the moment we are not taking notes or we're not like, but like that part of that's what I want, like where people I want to tell stories that inspire people to be more creative in their life, like I want uh, I want to tell stories that helps people love their life in a sense, right? Like, and people will say like, oh, that doesn't mean like I'll be like drawing butterflies and then like, oh, how beautiful it is, and like, no, like my way of doing that is telling you like a really fucked up story and then saying like you can go there, like you see like this, all these things are not happening to you, like
that's
so,
one way to do it.
Like that's I don't know, that's the way I don't know. It's I think our because people always say like even like, why do you like this gory stuff, or like, oh, like these comedians doing super dark jokes, and I'm saying you don't understand, like them going so deep into the darkness is what gives me hope that we can go so high into hope. You know what I'm saying? Like it's giving me
the contrast of it.
It's a them showing. I mean, again, of course, like people will say like, yeah, but there are really horrible people doing all these negative. And well, yes, but that's also giving me hope that most people are not like that. Like most people are going to go this way, where it's like they're going. I mean, again, if you want to like contrast light and darkness, but like Zizek always say like there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's another train coming. But no, I don't really. But I think do you again because we construct reality in our head and we tell these stories, and then we are the protagonist and we are influencing the story as we go. What's the what is the difference between going towards a deeper sense of understanding by playing that character and being separate from other people? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, how do we stay away from that danger? Because you brought up Krishnamurti, but I remember one of the quotes that I read from Krishnamurti is because he says like for example, someone saying like I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hindu is actually an act of violence, because he says
totally.
He says like you're separating yourself from the
100%.
this human kind that we are trying to be. You are coming in and saying like, I'm actually in this bubble, don't touch me, or something like that, right? And I mean I bring up religion because that's the
that's the one, man.
But there are so many other ways
hundreds,
where we separate.
So many structures that divide us.
Yeah. So how do we, like you said, it's a circle, right? You look outside and then you look into yourself, like that meme where the brain kind of looks at it. But at the same time, you look into yourself and you look at the world, right?
Yes, I do that too.
It's a circular
toroidal kind of thing looking at itself. So like I think about this a lot, like this whole label thing. I'm a big linguistics, man. Like the way you took the example of Hindu Muslim, right? Still a big thing, right? Like people still divide themselves over that.
Yes.
All language is a butchering of reality. That's where I'm working from. You can kind of get into the micro of, I can say I'm a Hindu and I'm surrounded by, I'm at a puja in some Hindu ashram and they're like, oh yes, we are all Hindu, we're one. But yeah, if there was like one Muslim dude there, they're just like, dude, I feel kind of excluded, But if that person wasn't there, those words are bringing people together, right? Right? Example. I'm at a mosque, right? And I'm standing there, I'm just like with my shirt, Superman style, like, I'm a Hindu. It's like, bro, what are you trying to do? Like what? Like, because everyone's Muslim here, right? Those words are dividing. They're not annealing, right? So, but if I was there and I'm just like, man, I see the Muslim in me, right? And I'm like, I'm a child of God or whatever. And in this scenario, I see that as, I'm a Muslim too, right? If I was in some other place like where Jewish people have their ceremonies or whatever, I'm like, I'm Jewish, right? Like I'm all of these, right? So language is already kind of like, this, like it's not capturing the feeling. The feeling is being captured with different languages, right? Different words. And when those organisms interact with each other, there is pow, there's fire, right? Like there is literal friction, right? There you go. There's what like the Middle East or whatever, the politics in India, right? Those are manifestations of these organisms not being able to communicate with one another. I don't know what your question was, but but this is how I see
my
it.
question was like how what is the how do we spot the difference between a journey where we are going deeper into our sense of understanding of ourselves and then versus someone who's just surface level isolating and separating.
So you have to look into the nature of the narrative. Like the example that I gave right now is like something that happens at civilization scale, right? But like in your own narrative, the character that you're playing, right? The way you construct that narrative, is it isolating or is it not isolating? Is it like how is the energy interaction? It can be many different.
The joy that I feel that I want, like there's this constant need that and in a way like it's a good need that I have of sharing like my art, sharing the experiences, sharing my ideas. I think it's bringing me closer to, I don't know, I like this person. I think that's the person that I was meant to be. But at the same time I think people also like me kind of and I think they like that I bring something in them.
That's
right?
awesome.
And I bring people together too. Right? And
so there you go. There's a story that you're telling that brings people like together, right? Like on a massive scale it could be isolating as well. Like just as a thought experiment, I'm not saying
like
this is actually true.
Looking from outside, I'm like, oh, I'm not part of that community, right?
That's one.
But actually, it's funny. Like one of the person that happened to one of the person who were, I think I told you, but I don't want to name that
I
person.
understand. But, that's one example of it. There's another. I can cook up some story here where it's like someone finds an escape in coming and drawing comics with you, and they're like ignoring something about their family or whatever. Right. That could be a manifestation of like your thing being like this extractive. Like they're coming there as like a a running away from something that's that they could be paying attention to, right? Like then that thing becomes a cult for them, right? There's all these like different versions that it can manifest. Like for me, I look at like my way of doing this, right? I'm on my Instagram, for example, I'm literally playing this edgelord, right? In the literal terms of it, because like in my world is like it's oh my god, there's just divisions, man. Right? There's just like I talk about politics because it keeps coming up. Like it came around my game also. I see that the world is divided with these labels, right? And they are everywhere. Like I go home, I see that division. I go out into the world, I see that division. Israel, Palestine, Hindu, Muslim, There's like all these different like
that's a way people
that's just
make sense of things.
So I'm just like I am all of these. Like I am this division, right? Like and that is split. This the scar on my forehead as an example of like how I am split in a split reality. Right. And that's where all the language of sim clusters and memeplexes and all of that comes in, because I'm describing a reality that is separated not just into bubbles but like this actual web of people believing different things through the algorithm, right? Like we are in pocket realities where things have happened and have not happened, and they are a certain way and they're not a certain way simultaneously. Right? And I move and I travel between all these countries. I talk to different people who hold me by the collar and they're like, this is happening and this is wrong and this is and some people will say the exact opposite.
Why aren't you paying attention and stuff like that?
It's like, why aren't you paying attention to this thing that's happening this way? And I'm just like, have you met those people over there who believe the exact opposite thing? Like what, like you're both people, right? And they have adjectives for each other that they will use to kind of describe.
Can we do a break? I think Tony tried to call me several times.
All right. I hope everything is okay.